get closer so you can see the screens better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait a little bit.
Closer the better, that way you can see the stuff. Alright. So I have 45 signed up. We'll see how many actually commit.
14.
Yes.
At best.
That's right. Come on in. There's a sign-in sheet going around.
Excellent. ¿Tienes preferencias? O quizás más cerca, ¿no? Eso para un acceso honestamente para el sector. Así es como se usa todo para poder hacer esas cosas. Ajá. Vamos a continuar acá. ¿Y tú siempre tuviste un negocio propio para Ok. Ok, good. Okay. Y ellos también tienen presencia aquí,
Chris is your digital. I'm looking at this digital nomad. Because that matches the description anyway.
Oh, good. Okay.
No picture though.
No, I haven't.
No last name.
Yes.
Austin Sprites.
Yes. So I used to do a youth program here, and the idea was like a lot of them were very digital tech knowledgeable, right?
Yeah.
So transferring those skills to the community, giving them a reason to use their skills in ways that helps other people. So
Skill point wise.
yeah. So we'll give it a few more minutes, and then we'll see how it goes, and then we'll dive right into it because we have a lot to cover. So.
Will there be a slide deck going out or anything?
Yes, if you want it, put a star by your name, just so just so I know who to send it to. So, yeah.
Put a check.
Okay, that's fine.
Están preguntando sobre los slides que nos van a compartir la presentación de creo que es. Is that a star next to the name?
Yeah, if you want the slide, just put a star next to your name. Click it.
We're going to get this.
Yeah, I'm gonna lunch break. It can go even wider, but usually I try to keep it.
I see a 2X, is that a digital?
Yeah. And I'm gonna put this back. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for showing up early. If you come in, please sign in. There's a sheet right there by the door. Yeah, please sign right there. And then if you do want to apply, just put your name, put a little asterisk or whatever by your name. Alright, so this is tonight's agenda. We're going to go over a couple of things, and we'll see how everything goes. Hopefully more people show up, so that way the exercises work. But for that, we'll go ahead and get started with, I'll let those who are still reading. We'll do introductions. So for those who are new here and never taken this before, I've been doing this program now for about a year. And so I teach two programs here: digital nomad lifestyle, people who travel the world, work from a laptop, build multiple businesses. And then I do the opposite, which is people who don't travel, but they still want to work for themselves, right? So solopreneur stuff, right? And that's what you're here for. And I help people build remote teams for that. And so that's whether finding you a Shopify expert or a system to manage your calendar. I do paid workshops for AI development. I'm starting to realize AI is starting to fragment, and we're going to be going over a lot of that stuff as well in this class. And then I also help you find out what events you need to be at. So with that, we'll turn it around. Now that you kind of have an idea of who I am, who are you? So we'll start with you. 20, 30 seconds, and go from there.
Perfect, so my name is Victor Cruz, and I'm from the Dominican Republic. Right now I'm returning from a 1-year-long sabbatical.
Okay.
So just returning and seeing what the opportunities lay ahead.
Good.
Main point is about knowledge.
Okay.
Starting to create my own company with my own consulting business. And I'm an engineer, so I don't know
Nice.
about the business part. So
Okay, okay.
I'm looking to
What kind of engineer?
Cryptography engineer, cybersecurity engineer.
Nice. Very cool. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, my name is RD Childers, initials RD, about 30 plus years as a manufacturing engineer. I'm here in Austin, Texas. I'm working on starting a consulting business, and I'm trying to figure out, product fit, market fit, because I'm not sure, what my skill sets are, what people are willing to pay for, and how that all transacts. And I'm just trying to delve into the, setting up websites and all those good things.
Awesome.
Good evening, everyone. Alonzo Treasure-Mora. I work full-time right now at VMware, which is a data center software company, but I studied electrical engineering and computer science in college, interested in the space of digital marketplaces and essentially seeing how essentially those kinds of ecosystems can be made and grown. So seeing where things go from there. It's early.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we'll see.
Great.
Hello everyone, my name is Rafael. I come from Colombia. I work in technology. I'm a system engineer. I have been working in my own company 2 years ago. The pain I have nowadays is how to scale my business.
Okay. Good.
I'm Eric Eisenstein. I'm from Austin. I've grown a business in patent-related investments and IP finance. I should say my pain point is finding decent patent portfolios, and I'm looking to learn tonight the things that I'm missing, the questions that I'm not asking.
Perfect. All right, hopefully we can find them. All right, we'll start with you over here.
Hi, I'm Rex. I'm from Leander. What am I working on? So right now I just started a new company, a registered new company. It helps displaced family find a furnished home for the insurance. My pain point is I was in tech software developer. Now I'm trying to get into this the insurance company. I have no clue how that system works or how the system works, so that's kind of where I'm right now. And I'm hoping for, you know, this like kind of right now one-man show, and I don't know, like, you know, 20 different things that needs to be done, trying to figure out how can, what I can do versus what I can delegate.
Okay.
Yeah, all
Great.
that stuff.
Well, hopefully we can solve that tonight.
Awesome.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, my name is Scott Wagner, and I'm in Austin now, and I come a few hats that I'm trying to fuse together. One is I'm a community manager for Off-Chain Global. We global chapters, basically in the Web3 blockchain space, and I'm looking how to grow that in a particular way. I can do whatever I want with it here, since I'm the manager here in Austin, and we're trying to develop and grow that different ways. I'm also launching with my business partner right now a kind of a more of a brick and mortar kind of business, making I call it creature comforts for human creatures and their four-legged friends. So looking to launch that in a way, and then also with those things, also creating a social media influencer presence, whatever type of thing to go along with it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Perfect. And all together, right? Okay. Yes. As long as we get next.
I'm Thomas Wagner, and I'm the +1 of starting a business with my pops.
Yep.
And I'm just here to learn everything I can.
Good. Well, hopefully something happens.
Right.
All right. Good. Thank you.
My name's John. I just moved to Austin. I do marketing for an options brokerage, and I'm just looking to apply my skills in digital marketing in different areas.
Nice. Okay. Welcome.
Hey, my name is Wes Bullins. I own a consulting agency where I help people scale and monetize podcasts and YouTube channels. So just kind of looking around and seeing what I can learn here. I've always considered myself a solopreneur.
Yeah.
So I saw this in the email, thought I'd stop by.
Great. Welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Jerry Chan. I'm about to retire, so basically I'm trying to figure out what I want to do.
Okay. Perfect. And also there's a sign-in sheet
Okay.
in case you missed it. Yes. All right. So for those who come in later, we will. I guess we won't know what they do, but let's get started on the rest of the stuff. All right. So. So I always cover some news that's important for solopreneurs. So I always like to give you like what's going on. So if you ever keep track of like indie hackers, there was an article that came out about 8 different ways that indie hackers are using AI agents. So they have a lot of like customer service reps. They also have like voice assistants, those that use it for like restaurants. And what I'm learning is that AI agents, for everybody it seems, has different meanings, right? And this is becoming a problem because some people think AI agents are just independent and others that you program. And so for those who have used AI agents, they are pretty cool, but they take a lot of work to build and set up, right? And then there's this other guy who built basically a very interesting program, we're gonna get into it, who here has done technical interviews, like coding interviews? Right, are they fun? Are they easy? No, they're not. So basically he built this program, let me see if I can show it to you, where he went in and used the publicity to basically actually sign up for technical interviews. And he would screen record these interviews, right? and he used this software that is invisible to the screen recorder, okay? And it basically helps you answer the technical questions as you're taking the test, but the interviewer doesn't see it, okay? So it's going through, it's explaining all this stuff, and what he did was, he basically used those videos he did, turned them into TikToks, and then he threw them on YouTube, and then he's got himself banned from those tech companies because he got job offers from them, right? Because he basically didn't pass the test, but yet he kind of did, right? So he used that marketing to launch his company, and within 36 days, he had $1 million business, right? Because he used all that publicity. At the same time, he also probably has got kicked out of Columbia University for doing this, because I have no idea what the connection is between starting a business and being in school, right? That's education, so. But this is the company, and he wanted to go in, it's called Interview Coder. And if we go to the site, this is sort of what it looks like. And if you see right here, this is what your screen sharing looks like on Zoom. This is what the interviewer sees. And as you can tell, if you want to look it up yourself, interviewercoder.co, the interviewer doesn't see the actual AI system. It's all invisible, right? So he shows an entire video, what it looks like as it's going through, and it's basically helping you answer all your technical questions. So, is that a cool idea? I thought so. I mean, he got him to profitability. He was poor, he had no job, he couldn't do anything, probably got kicked out of school. So I would say he's doing everything just right. So, there was another one where someone was basically making around 30K a month. And let me see if I can go over here. Yes. And who here uses Hacker News? Anybody use this stuff? Yeah, so there was one where, I think I saw it right over here. Yeah, that was the one I just covered. Yeah, there you go. But this other guy right here, he was making 30K from AI products with perpetual licenses. So in case you're building a company, I will let you know, subscription models don't work, okay? Ask anybody right now, do they want another subscription in their life, and they will tell you no, right? But yet, business school students are learning subscription models work, right? And they don't. Nobody wants another subscription. And so what this guy did was, he basically got rid of that, and he offered either $30 or like $30 up front, or a perpetual license for basically the life of the product, right? And it worked. And all of a sudden people were signing up, they were using it, and he realized how much more can he scale with that, you know? So, there was someone else that basically talked about how AI isn't close to replacing personal assistants yet, which is true, right? Like I get people, remote workers, and AI isn't there yet, but we are getting close. So once it does happen, we're probably still gonna have remote assistants, just not as many. So I have a question. Who here knows about browser use, or browser one? Okay, who here knows Manus? Okay, wow. So basically, this company went in, and let me see if I can find it real quick. And I think I can see it over. So basically what they did was, they created a browser, there we go. They created this browser that is only used for AI, right? Like how we see browsers is different from how AI sees the internet, right? So this company built a browser only for AI to see. So we would look at the browser and think it looks childish because the buttons are kind of big, they're kind of like bright, all these things, because the AI needs to see these things clearly. And so they built that browser, right? So because of Manus, they got the publicity of their product, and now they raised 17 million, right? In the VC world, that's very small. But that means that other people are gonna look at this and go, okay, well, if that is the case, what other tools does AI need to be able to see that we need to build, right? So that leads me to Manus.io. So, let's see if I can bring it up real quick. There we go. Is this the guy? No. Man, there's already copycats. Wow. Let's see. Man, they already changed everything. Okay. So this is it's basically a it's like DeepSeek, right? Okay. So I'm gonna play this video so you get an idea. Oh man. Okay. Hold on.
We're launching an early preview of Manus, the first general AI agent. This isn't just another chatbot or workflow. It's a truly autonomous agent that bridges the gap between conception and execution. While other AI stops at generating ideas, Manus delivers results. We see it as the next paradigm of human-machine collaboration, and potentially a glimpse into AGI. Now let me show you Manus in action across 3 completely different tasks. Let's start with an easy one. In this example, we'll ask Manus to help screen resumes. I've just sent Manus a zip file containing 10 resume documents. Since each Manus session has its own computer, it can work like a human. First unzipping the file, then browsing through each resume page by page, and recording important information to documents. Manus works asynchronously in the cloud, which means you can close your laptop anytime, and Manus will notify you when everything is complete. Of course, you can also give Manus new instructions at any time. Here I've sent Manus 5 more resumes. After carefully reading all 15 resumes, Manus provides its ranking suggestions, along with candidate profiles and evaluation criteria as supporting materials. This is pretty good, but I prefer a spreadsheet. Let's have Manus create one. Manus has its own knowledge and memory, so it can teach Manus that the next time it handles a similar task, it will deliver a spreadsheet right away. In this example, we'll have Manus conduct some research. It needs to filter New York properties based on multiple criteria. For complex tasks, Manus first breaks them down and creates a to-do list. Manus begins by searching and carefully reading articles about the safest neighborhoods. Then Manus researches middle schools in New York. Next, Manus writes a Python program to calculate my budget. Based on my budget, Manus filters listings on real estate websites. Finally, combining all the information gathered, Manus writes a detailed report and compiles all the resources.
So I'm going to stop right there. So it looks pretty impressive. It does have its limitations. I've already gotten access to it. It's not open to the public yet, but I've been playing with it. What I did recently was I was working with a commercial real estate firm, and they needed to find out some information about the property, what they could do with it. So I had Manus go in, basically gave it a screenshot, and I said, hey, I need to know who the potential buyers are for this property. And it went out and did all the research for me, right? It got the information, it found potential buyers, found their information, compiled a detailed report. It actually put together how to send their marketing proposals, all that stuff. And I had a sandwich by let it work, right? And that's where we're going with things. So Manus looks cool on the outside, but it still has some bugs because every now and then it does mess up. So you still have to know what you're doing. Who here has used DeepSeek for like research and everything? Yes, no, okay, right. So again, you're having more and more competitors come into the space, and because of that, you're starting to realize what is the point of some positions, right? Because other companies are taking notice, and so this encourages a lot of companies to basically downsize their workforce if you have tools like this. So we covered that, and now we're going to cover the other part, which is I want to know who here actually knows all these. So this is for current as of March. Okay, these are the top 50 Gen AI web products that are by unique monthly visits. Okay, if you only know 2 or 3, you're probably not keeping up with AI, right? So there's a lot of AI tools out there. To give perspective, about 5,000 to 10,000 AI tools hit the market every week. This is just by monthly users, right? Those other tools are probably side projects, college projects, high school projects, but they're out there. But these basically generate revenue. So if you look at the list, first one obviously is ChatGPT, and then we have DeepSeek, right? And then Character AI. So I always ask this question. Number 1 is OpenAI, right? But why is Character AI in the list? Who here even uses that? You get millions of people visit this site every day. What does it do? If you have a laptop in front of you, go to character.ai and look it up, right? You'll understand once you see it, maybe the importance of it, And those who are looking it up, please tell me what you think its purpose is.
Well, the only thing I know about character AI is the story where the teenager interacted with one of the chatbots created by character AI and killed himself.
Yep. Yeah. So remember, in character AI environments, you can also build your own characters, right? So it adds its own personality flair as well. So yes, they did get publicity for that, but they've been around for a very long time, right? So the reason why character AI is so popular is because it fixes loneliness, right? Like I can go in and talk to any of my favorite movie characters out there. I can go talk to Spider-Man, I can talk to Batman, I can talk to whoever I want to talk to, right? And it creates that artificial relationship. And for many people, they want that, right? So they have raised a lot of money. So if we go next, Perplexity. Who uses Perplexity, right? So then Janitor AI, Claude, Cobot, Sono. Most of these right here all have some type of relationship building character inside of it, right? Perplexity took off because it could basically do real-time online research, right? That was something OpenAI struggled with for a long time. And now we have the pro version, and now we have new models that came out. So, is there more?
Which is real time?
Perplexity.
Perplexity.
Yeah, but Manus does it real time, DeepSeek does real time, Claude does it real time, Minstrel does it real time, you know, so all those. So there's a lot. All right, so is there more? Yes, there is. So let's go to mobile apps now. So now we have the top 50 mobile apps for phone, right? Who here uses 5 of these? Man, no hands are going up. It's crazy, right? And yet millions of people use these apps. Okay, so we have Photo AI. Anybody know who Photo AI is? Who's the creator of that? Peter Levels. So, yeah. DeepSeek is 14, which is surprising, but it's still within the top 20. And then we have Badu, then we have Photomath, which is Microsoft. Quark, AI Assistant, Character AI still in there, and obviously ChatGPT, right? So, yeah, right? If you've seen the latest additions for Google, right? If you've seen the latest additions for Google Gemini, photo editing has changed tremendously, right? So now the next one is beauty apps, right? Apparently people want to look beautiful. So now we have AI beauty apps that also are the second contender for making a lot of money. And then not surprisingly, we have ChatGPT copycats, right? So people who basically went in, copied the thing, and they made their own, right? So, and then right after that, we have general assistants. So these are all broken down by their industries, but this just shows you where the money is being spent, right? So for your industry, what you're doing, this gives you a good sense of like, hey, if I'm not sure what I need to be doing, maybe this is an industry I should look into, right? So, how was your South by experience? Did anybody go? Okay. Did you get anything out of it? So the last class that we covered was basically how to launch and scale during South by for your small business, right? And we went over a whole bunch of tools. We created an entire marketing strategy, and I showed you how to use AI to build everything out. So, if you have any stories you want to share, was it positive? Was it fun? Was it boring? Did you just go home early and then figure like this was terrible? So quiet. You guys good?
It was actually related to capital factory events. I've been coming to South by for years for tech conference. I've also film and music stuff too, but tech conferences and the events that Capital Factory hosts are by far
they're great.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, they were talking about quantum computing,
right?
And for example, the keynote speaker was the CTO of the CIA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it was just like, mind blowing.
Did you watch the keynote with the NVIDIA CEO where he was talking about he didn't know that there was already publicly traded quantum computing companies? And do you know what happened after he said that? Their stocks dropped. Because he's like, we're decades away from quantum computing actually being useful, right? And he's like, how are they publicly traded? Like, we're nowhere near what people say they are.
I remember.
Yeah. And then he goes back, he's just like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. But yes, this year I went and it was pretty small. Like I did not see the big crowds in the street. I did not see the big events, things like that. There were still the exclusive parties, the iHeart Podcast Music Awards, all those things. But unfortunately, if you pay attention, South by, after it closed, announced that they are downsizing because of the destruction or demolition of the convention center, which will be happening in about a week or two from now, right?
Oh.
And then once that happens, it's gonna be gone. They're gonna be cutting off 2 days from the festival, and they're going to shrink, right? And that won't be back until 2029. So, and it'll be a whole new convention center, because apparently somebody says we need a new convention center. So, I don't know, I was okay with that one.
So the convention center will be back 2029.
In 2029.
South by will be back next year, but small.
Right,
Okay.
exactly, yeah. So we'll have a whole redesign. I guess somebody was complaining, so, yeah. All right, so it's a lot on this slide, essentials of a powerful business plan, but don't worry, we're going to basically shrink all this stuff, right? So this is a quick overview of your essentials for a powerful business plan. And for those who have laptops or your phone with you, you're going to need it, okay? So again, key components for your successful business plan. You need an executive summary, company description, market analysis, products and services, marketing, sales strategy, financial projections. Because we have AI now, a lot of these things can be done with Manus, it can be done with DeepSeek, it can be done with Claude, it can be done with ChatGPT, paid subscription, because these can actually go out and build all that stuff for you, right? Who here has actually done that already for your business? Raise your hand. Okay, great, perfect. All right, so once you have all those things done, then you need a vision, a mission, and your goals. If you have no goals, then you basically have no idea what you're doing, right? If you've ever seen the Y Combinator programs, I used to teach a satellite program from Y Combinator here in Austin, and they are very, very strict about how you meet your goals every week. If you're not hitting close to like 9–10% growth rates every week, you're not working, right? You're not hitting your goals, right? Which for some people sounds really hard, right? So let's keep going. So first exercise we're gonna do, we are kind of small. So if you want to do 2s or 3s, I would say break up into a little small group. Anybody near you, I want you to give a pitch to that person and then take notes, right? Does it make sense? What do you think needs to be improved? And for the person pitching, take notes. Pay attention to how that person responded, right? Because what you think your business is versus what somebody perceives your business to be are very different. And if they're different, that means you're not communicating clearly. So we'll go ahead and take a few minutes on that. So I'll let y'all kind of break up real quick. Just pick somebody next to you. Somebody you don't know. Somebody you don't know. All right.
We'll do 2 over here.
I don't have a business, I'm just trying to find out what one.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
You can go first.
Sure, right on. Go for it.
You have something to pitch?
No.
Or come up with something on the fly?
No, sure, yeah.
This is a practice at brainstorming, right?
So if you think of a Venn diagram, that's got.
I just wrote the Venn diagram.
Alright, so if you've got a Venn diagram, with a law firm, a capital provider, and somebody that wants to assert patents, okay? I sit in the center of that, and facilitate the communication, project management, and the direction of that organization.
Yeah, you're kind of the broker slash facilitator.
Yes, a broker is usually involved up until a transaction takes place, but I'm also involved post-funding and once there's a transaction. So it's more of a project management facilitator.
Take it.
All the way from identification of an opportunity to we cash a check.
Okay.
So that's what I do. That's my pitch.
That's, okay. Do other people do that today, or do you think it's a niche? Or?
There are some people that do aspects of that, yes. And some of them do it well, and some of them do it poorly, and some of them only do this part, and they don't do that part, and so on. So I'm more holistic, and I like to think
Okay. I get it, because I guess I kind of think that, but like, what's the questions? So I think if you're pitching to the right audience, I think they'll get it.
That's the
right?
thing, it's gotta be people that understand.
Right?
It's definitely, it's a, you know, it's a B2B sale,
Yeah.
at a very specific niche.
Right.
Where everybody that I'm talking to knows the general concepts involved.
Yeah, there's assumed expertise in the room. Right? Yeah.
What about yours?
So I have a couple things brewing. I'll pick one. So one was like, well, it was blockchain stuff, but also how AI can make that, garbage in, garbage out as far as AI goes. And Web3 and blockchain technologies can ensure trusted inputs.
Okay, so.
But that's more of a topic for hosting events. So switching up something completely different.
Okay.
My son and I are launching kind of like initially kind of a, for lack of a better word, kind of a brick and mortar kind of business, if you will. Creature comforts, creating items, craft items, handmade craft items for human creatures and their four-legged creature friends.
Are you planning to open a store, or are you a manufacturer?
I'm a manufacturer. I'll have a kind of online storefront like Etsy, but also maybe hit the farmers markets and craft shows.
Okay. Okay. So I wouldn't describe that as a brick and mortar business.
Yeah.
When I hear brick and mortar,
yeah, I know it's like
if you want to be a product company, we're a maker of craft products for people and their pets, and then maybe describe what those are. Right?
Yeah.
Food or chew toys or clothing or
right.
whatever.
So to start with, so I have a woodworking background. He has a metalworking background.
Okay.
I dabbled in it. So anyway, so starting out with a cutting torch. I got tools for a cutting torch setup. So I'm gonna start with man cave art, decorative fireworks, like made out of cast iron and steel.
What does that have to do with the dog?
Well, I said first, human creatures and
Everyone, so
animal
sorry to interrupt y'all's conversations. Hopefully you've had time to pitch to each other. You got some feedback, wrote it down. Anybody care to share what you thought about that? Did it help identify some things? Did it help see like what you're not communicating clearly on? Or are you still with the same idea? And feel free to shout it out.
I don't know if there's enough time.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you able to get both pitches already?
We got the general concepts of each other's now.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, not enough to challenge them.
Good. So we're going to continue because we have more exercises, right? So what you've done now, we're going to build on for the next one. Okay? So now the next part right here, we're going to be using AI for this, right? So if you have a laptop, if you have a tablet, if you have a phone, here's what I want you to do. Take it out. Can you see that prompt that I wrote? If not, I can enlarge it.
Do you recommend one in particular?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter, yeah. As long as it's not a generic brand.
Claude is a very good start. Very good at market research, recommendations, documentation, references. Really good at having like what money to do, it's like prompt engineering.
Do you want to read it out? Or you can come closer too if you want, yeah. So take the time right here to answer those questions and go through that little process, right?
Allow you to like really leverage.
Well, I use the ChatGPT a few times. Other than that, but I don't engage with this.
And this is the part right here where we're gonna start getting into the nuts and bolts of your business, okay? Because you're gonna take this and we're going to build onto the next part, right? So by the time you're done, you're gonna actually have a blueprint of everything you're supposed to be doing versus what you thought you're supposed to be doing.
So you are you getting seed money for it now?
Well, we're trying to avoid raising money for it, just like doing it internally.
There's a lot of work getting on.
That's- yeah.
Are you trying to organize it?
Well, my emphasis part is like a computer science engineer, so.
Is that any AI is great?
Yeah,
Web
it's
and
fine,
like,
yeah.
there's any AI and all this.
Most of them know my business, I guess I've been talking to them the other day, so.
Trying to compile it, get more of that.
Did it ask you any new questions then?
I guess with.
Sorry, what was that?
Did it ask you any new
Calling all the
questions?
web, you can get a lot.
Now they have started asking
Yeah.
questions, like, last month where I was trying, they were especially people asking, now they are,
Okay.
Someone else
And what
already-
questions did it ask you right now?
Exactly. And then just have the AI rewrite it.
Since related,
So he kind of.
what are the key
show
strengths that
labels and
NPR
stuff.
has leveraged to become successful?
Okay,
So
yeah.
what's in there?
Alright,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'd
so
like
take
to
the
work
time right
with,
now, answer your questions, and then we're gonna build on the next one.
There's a lot of consultants have,
Yeah, you don't know what's in there.
there's like, there's like lead and arsenic and some of the nicer supplements.
I don't, I'm not a supplement taker, so.
Did it ask you any questions that you thought were surprising? Or that you didn't consider?
Otherwise, I was like, I'm doing it.
Surprisingly good.
Good, perfect, yeah. The idea is to identify things that you're not thinking about, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know, and that's what AI knows, right? So, once it can identify those blind spots for you, then it helps you with that. Yeah.
I don't take anything to the doctor said, okay, you need to take this. To me, it's like medication.
So, how's everybody doing right now? Are you all still answering questions, or are you ready for the next part? Good, alright, let's move on to the next one. Alright, keep that open. Now we're gonna progress to the next part, ready? Okay, so, this is what you're gonna type in now. And because of that, you're gonna develop clear goals and strategies, right? So this one right here is what we just did, and now right here is the next prompt. Okay, so based off of everything you just answered, this is the next part you're going to answer now, right? Yeah. So this is the 5 questions, yeah. So now this is the part where you've answered your questions, right? So now we're building the blueprint, and now we're gonna get into the action steps, right? So once you have your action steps, that's the part that's gonna tell you basically what you're doing every day. Because sometimes a lot of people wake up and they're just like, well, I have a business, what should I do, right? Some people think building is building a company, but it really isn't, right? In my first lesson for the year, we covered how to sell water. I gave everybody basically a bottle of water, and I said, here, sell this, build a company. How many of y'all think actually could do that? It's just water, right? And yet there's a company out there who got to $1 billion valuation in 3 years. And then I meet people who are building expensive SaaS products, and they can't sell 1 customer, right? So.
What's the next part?
So the next one right here is gonna be defining your goals. Right, so now you have your blueprint, right? So if you've taken that other prompt before this, now you have your blueprint. Yes, go ahead.
Did anyone raise the AC?
Great.
Did anyone try to mess with the AC or the temperature?
Is it cold in here?
Your water experiment.
Oh, yeah.
Raise it to 80.
Exactly. That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so now the next part right here is I would like to work on my SMART goals, right? So you're gonna take this prompt and you're going to build from the previous one, and now it's gonna ask you 3 questions related to your SMART goals, right? So now these SMART goals are gonna build off of your blueprint, right? And if you want to move closer so you can see, because I know this is different from the projector screens. So. And I have done this already with multiple businesses, and for some, it's eye-opening as to what they're not seeing in their companies that AI is aware of, right? So. And so in order for this to work, make sure you're answering the questions, so that way it builds off of everything. And if you need time, just tell me.
Yeah, I don't have answers to all those questions.
And that's okay, and that's the idea, right? Like, you're learning about your business because these questions are coming up, right? Because if these questions are coming up, that means it's questions that probably your potential customers have as well, right?
I'm just emailing myself with the
Please, absolutely.
prompts.
Sure.
And then go back through it later.
Yeah.
Answer your questions.
Okay.
I'll grab the deck.
Yeah. So for those working right now, I will give a little more
So,
time.
how do you tell the AI that you're answering one of its questions?
So basically what you do is like, you're gonna grab the questions, right? And then you answer under the question and then you repost it. Right? Because if you just give it the answer, it doesn't know what question you're giving.
Okay, so just copy and paste the
The
question?
questions, and then answer the question and then repaste it, right? So once you do that, then it knows what questions you're answering.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully somebody's also discovering some nuggets about their business.
It's just good to have the template.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do the next one right here. So now, because you have your monthly goals right there, right? So now you're gonna take this and you're gonna create your 6-month business plan, right? So in that prompt right here, it's gonna go in and create a weekly to-do list of items that you need to complete every week in order to meet your goals, right? And then from there, you're gonna have 5 other questions that's gonna relate to those action steps, right? To that to-do list, right? So this is where like, and this is where like business school comes in, right? And this is the stuff that you have to understand, like how it's building everything. And because we have AI that can do way more things than most MBA people can do now, this can build out all kinds of information for you. In fact, this is an entire business in itself, right? Because now you're showing companies what they don't know, right? If you create a list of like, here's your competitors, here's what they're doing, here's how they're doing it, and then on top of that, hey, I have AI agents that monitor your competitors for everything they're doing, that's a business in itself now, right? So before that, you hired people that were data analysts that did that stuff, right? And now we have AI agents that monitor that stuff 24/7, so.
After creating a 6-month business plan, create a weekly to-do list of items that need to be completed in order to meet goals based on all the questions that I've answered so far. Please answer the following questions.
So I'll let you all take more time on this because this is the meat of everything that you're here for, right? This is the part that's actually gonna tell you more of your business. if you care to share what you're learning, by all means, please do. If it's so secret that I have to sign an NDA, it's okay, don't say anything. Everybody's deep in thought right now, so.
So I can't remember, I know SMART is an acronym for something.
Yes, yeah. AI knows, I mean, like,
Right.
it'll pick up on it, so. And unless you have the paid version of whichever AI tool you're using, I would probably recommend just throwing all that into a Word document that you can save. So that way, when you're doing this, now you can take that Word document and then just upload it back to AI and say, hey, this is everything I've been working on, and you always have a working document, right? If you don't have a paid subscription, then you probably have to keep re-entering all this stuff. So. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, but y'all can keep working. All right. So now this is the part that you basically sell, right? Because your business in itself is a business, but you still need a story. Otherwise, you can't sell anything, right? If you don't have a story to sell, nobody's going to buy from you. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take everything you've just sort of built. If you're still working, that's fine. And you're going to take that information, and based off of everything you've built from there, now it's going to create a compelling story around your business that you use as your mission statement and as your vision for what you want to accomplish, right? Because what is the mission statement for Liquid Death, right? It's a lifestyle brand, right? So changing, wait, you don't know Liquid Death?
Water in a can.
Yeah, it's water in a can that looks like alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And it gets teenage boys to drink water, right? That's the whole point, you know?
Used to drinking alcohol.
Exactly, right? So the idea is it's a lifestyle brand. You're selling a lifestyle. So if you have an expensive SaaS product, what is the story you have right there? Like, just because it solves a problem, who cares, right? I can probably find like 50 other competitors to that, but I need a story. Otherwise, people don't really buy stuff, they buy something that matches their values, you know? So now AI is gonna go in and create that story to create your brand, right? Because that's how you get people to connect with you. If I go to you and be like, hey, I have a product that can change your life, it's $59.95 a month, here, you need to buy it right now, guess what's gonna happen? Nothing, right? They're not gonna talk to you because you're a salesman, right? But if you have a story, now they have a reason to connect with you because it matches what they're looking for.
We craft a compelling story with my business based on the mission statement, the vision, and what I want to accomplish. As asked before, clarify the type of story I want to tell based on my business. Those elements discussed are recorded in accordance with the definition of corporation.
Did you use AI to create these prompts?
Nope. Nope, I do not. I've been doing this for too long now to where prompt writing is just like almost natural to me. It's just, I mean, yes, there's like tons of websites that have prompt libraries now, but man, it's, what's happening is the model systems are changing to where the prompting is now morphing into something else, right? So. And if you care to share what your new story is, if you've gotten that far, by the way, I know for some, you're probably working. And for those who do have paid as well, you can also take pictures and upload it into chat. So has anybody completed their story, or are they close? Okay. So for here, who is actually ready for customers? You are, okay, all right. Okay. So this next one right here, I'm gonna move on to the next part right here. This is gonna need a little more time. Now this is probably gonna be a little scary for most people here, but for those who want to try it out, I encourage you to do it, right? Because otherwise you're just gonna keep thinking about it, right? You should already have a lot of stuff answered already, but this is the part that's going to determine if you're really ready for the next step, right? So here it is. Everything you've developed, the story, your blueprint, your action plan, your to-do list, all that stuff, now you have an actual like strategy for your business, okay? So everything should be documented. Depending on which AI you use, you either have Excel documents and you have Word documents now, and you have everything laid out, you have an action plan for the next 6 months. And now this one right here basically is saying, now you're gonna take that information and you're gonna have AI go find potential clients for you, right? And you're going to craft a letter and submit it. And this determines the dreamers versus the doers, right? So if you take this, Just like I worked with that real estate firm, I had AI do all the research, I drafted all the letters of introductions, created the marketing proposals, did all that stuff, and then I submitted everything after I reviewed it. It took me 2 hours, right? What would take more than likely an MBA, probably a couple weeks to do all that stuff, right? So that's where we are now. So this is the part right here where it will build the letter of interest, it will build your marketing proposal, it will build your prospectus as well. And then once you have that, you're going to take that information and it's going to give you either an email address or a website, and you're going to contact that client. This is why, like, for people who've taken this program before, it gets a little scary, right? Because now it's, are you ready to actually get customers? Are you at that point, right? So, who here has used the site built in Austin? Okay, great. Okay, do you want to share what that site does?
Well, it showcase companies from Austin,
Yep.
and you know, like what they're doing, and if they're hiring, what are the different industries that are
Yep.
here available to Austin locals.
Right, and so if you're trying to do customer outreach here in Austin, that is a great website to start with, built in Austin, right? You go over there, it lists every company in Austin, and it does it by industry type, who's hiring, who's doing what is their industry, what are they focused on, what location are they in Austin, everything, right? Like it gives you a map. I use that site quite a bit, and in fact, you can just now take AI, plug in the website, and more than likely it can go through all the companies and find your potential clients, right? And then it will draft the letters, it will do all that stuff, and it's just up to you to just send out those emails, right? So now at this point, it determines, do you really have a company or are you still just dreaming? Right?
That was called here in Austin? Or
Built in Austin.
Built in Austin.
Yeah, yeah. So if you look at the site, Built in Austin, check it out, go through there. Yeah. And then,
Oh, thanks, I missed that.
yeah. And you can do a search, right? You can do by industry type. It even breaks everything down by number of employees in the company, right? So if you're not looking to work with big, huge businesses, and you want to get into a company that has like less than 50 employees, that might be a better start, right? Because those companies don't have as much, you know, red tape as companies that have 500 employees or 1,000, you know.
Now that we've defined a completely started business, can you help them bring potential clients in terms of looking at these the potential clients, location, United States, kind of interesting.
So who here has used an AI tool to go through a website before, grab information, and then just automatically apply?
Doing research, doing research.
Okay, yeah.
Request
Alright.
for meeting.
And then the capabilities to read something from emails and website,
Mhm.
extract information, and fill out a table.
Right, yes. So we're getting to a point where AI will now be able to do all that stuff for you automatically, and you can now create these AI agents that know your business, right? So it knows your business because you built all the stuff already, right? It needs this stuff. Once that agent knows, it knows how to keep monitoring the internet to see what's going on, right? Like you can either have it monitor tweets, you can have it monitor Facebook posts, you can have it monitor whatever you want, right? There's a site called Browse AI. It's basically AI that just monitors the internet, right? And when you go to Browse AI, it is probably one of the coolest AI tools I've seen out there because it's like having somebody watch all your competitors for you, right? And say, hey, every time they change their prices, let me know, right? Every time they update products, let me know, right? Because this gives you a sense of like, what are my competitors doing that I need to be aware of, right? So. Anybody here close to sending the letter, or are we still the dreamer stage?
I wanted to sing the monkey song. Daydream believer, so.
Yes. But yeah, so let me see where we're at. Yes. All right. So how are we on time right now? Got it. Perfect. So after this, I'll do a quick run through with Manus to show you like how it actually works. And then that way it can build everything and you can see how it does all those things. What I love about Manus is that it actually will give you Excel files, it will give you PowerPoint files depending on what you want as an output. And it will do all the research for you. So once we finish that part, yeah, we'll try it out. So.
What do you recommend as a letter if you don't have the full product? Meaning like, you know, you're not ready to onboard yet, so.
Are you hiring or are you getting clients?
I'm getting clients.
Okay, so this goes back to the idea of like, when you get your first client, then you work your butt off to make sure you have it ready, right? And how many of those entrepreneurship stories have you read for like, I had nothing, right?
Yeah.
I just got client after client, I knocked on doors until somebody said yes, and then I sat my ass down and actually built the damn thing.
Yeah.
Or you could go back and be like, I'm gonna build and build and build, and then maybe I'll go get a customer. So which one do you want to be in?
Well, ideally, I have someone that can tell me what they're looking for without expecting the full product up front.
Right, but if they have to tell you what they're looking for, does that mean you know your business? No. Yeah. So the idea behind business is that you're not trying to predict what a customer wants, you already know your customer, right? So that's why like, if I'm somebody who washes cars, right, I go to people's houses and I wash cars, who do I want to target? I want to go knock on doors where I see all the cars are dirty, right? And I'm going to knock on the door, I can wash your car for you, right, 50 bucks. I got a customer, right? I know their need, I see the need because their car is dirty in the driveway. See? So if I'm building SaaS, who's my customer, right? SaaS is whatever it is, right? So if I know that I have a web scraper, who's my client? Well, whoever needs data, right? That could be brokers, that could be financial analysts, business analysts. How do I sell to them, right? So that's why we're doing this whole thing, so you understand like, how do you actually sell to your customer? So yeah. So hopefully when I go through Manus, you'll see like what it's going to do, right? So yeah. All right. So this is the part that I'm including, because now you need to figure out. You have your blueprint. You have everything. Now, how do you grow as a solopreneur? So now you're going to take your blueprint to the next level by identifying your growth opportunities over the next 6 months. You have your blueprint. So now you've spotted your areas of potential expansion, right? So expansion includes either hiring more people, or bringing on AI agents, right? Or building more hosting space to add in traffic. So it's either you're looking for new markets, products, or services. So part 2 is going to be, now you're building your foundation of business operations. You're going to automate repetitive tasks. If you have tons of people visiting your site and they're signing up, you're one person, right? So now you need to automate that using AI agents to basically deal with all those things. Either that or hire a remote assistant. So who here uses make.com or N8N or anything like that, right? So I'm going to show you a video on that, right, to show you like how it actually works. But make.com is a beast to learn, right? But once you learn make.com, you can automate anything, literally anything.
Make.com?
Yeah, make.com. If you want to look it up right now, make.com. I would recommend doing the academy if you've never done it. Make.com basically can automate anything you want. That as long as it can be done online, it can automate it, right? So for example, like every time I get an email, send me a text message, right? Every time I get an email with attachment, send it to these people on my team, and then put it into a log file for Excel, right? It automates all those things. So that's what you're trying to identify. So your third part right here is developing an extended network, right? If you've ever heard of the anti-startup, that's basically what this is, right? You're trying to keep your team very small, if not one person, right? So you're going to start attending industry events, conferences, right? Collaborate with other businesses that do something similar. And you're going to build relationships with those mentors and advisors. That's how you get your name out there, right? If all you're going to do is run Google Ads, do you have a business? Right? Everybody can do that. Otherwise, now it's just a money game, you know? And you're basically going to choose one of those growth opportunities, go back to your blueprint, and then use AI to keep refining that every day. right? Because you don't know what's out there, but AI can keep track of it. Any questions? Alright, so I believe that's done. Alright, so let's go into Manus real quick. Alright, so I'm gonna new task. Alright, I am working on a new business. And I would like to build out a full blueprint action plan for the next 6 months. Alright, anybody want to give me my company? Or do you want to make it up?
Let's make it up.
Alright, I help businesses scrape data and then
Scrap or scrape?
scrape. Is it scrape or scrap? Scrape?
Scrape.
Oh, here. Wait, scrape. Alright.
Scrape.
I'll do this. How about that?
Does he already-
Mine data. Yeah, mine data and sell them package to brokers. I need to know who I and whatnot. Alright, so perfect. So what I'm going to do right here is go in and I'm going to answer these questions real quick. So basically it's asking what specific types of data do you mine and package for brokers? I mine foot traffic data from smartphone devices and help ad companies target where most people are at. Okay. Just getting started, so 0. It's all I can get. Alright, so now I'm going to throw it in, and now it's going to go in and build. So, alright.
Question, why are you still typing and don't use voice dictation?
Oh no, I'm just typing just so y'all can see. Yeah. So if you know Placer AI, they're actually a company that monitors foot traffic based off of the data your phone gives off, right? So they sell that data. You know. looking at websites, it's checking things, it's looking at all kinds of competitors, it's doing this stuff right now. Yeah, it found a place for AI too, so. And to give you perspective, this is a company of 30 people. They're very tiny, so.
Manus's?
Yeah, Manus, yeah.
How did you get early access? Was it developer related?
Yeah, so they had a early release to certain people, so I signed up and they sent me an invite, so I checked it out. I was just like, man, this is amazing. You know, so I love it. And what's cool is, like, you know, when it runs into something it needs to do, it'll build its own Python code to execute it. So yeah. It's still working, still doing its thing, and it's probably going to spit out a whole bunch of files and everything. And then we'll take a look at what it built. So, but this is where we are now, right? Like, you don't need an MBA, you don't need to go to school to be like, hey, I need to figure out how to build a business, right? Like, if you know how to talk to AI, it can build anything, you know? There are people that use this now to build entire websites, SaaS products. You can build this, and then you can connect a SaaS to it, build a back end, and go through all those things, right? You just have to make sure you also kind of know what you're doing, otherwise you're just vibe coding, right? So, yeah.
What is vibe coding?
Vibe coding is where, like, you're in this mood of just like, I'm coding, I look like I know what I'm doing, right? But AI is actually doing everything, and then you don't realize, like, oh, I have to know, like, security protocols, and I have to make sure I hide my paywall information, or otherwise people are going to get around it. And if I don't follow authentication protocols, then I don't know what that is, right? And I'm just coding, right? Just for fun.
Might want to have expected results that you test.
Exactly, right? So if you look at vibe coding, it has become a problem because people are building all these things, right? And all of a sudden they have all these security flaws in their products,
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna be good for me, like coming from cybersecurity and encryption, so.
Exactly. So now you're dealing with a whole world of people that they're like, man, you should check out my app, and then all of a sudden, like, there's all these flaws in there, right? And then you're just like, well, what do you mean there's flaws in it? I used AI. I was like, well, yeah, because you're not a coder. So yeah. All right, so far right there, key findings from the competitor analysis. Most competitor target enterprise clients with custom pricing models. They offer comprehensive location intelligence solutions beyond just raw data. Specializing in smartphone derived, traffic can be a differentiator. Now I'll research industry trends, market size, growth potentials, and technologies used for this. And so it's basically showing me what it's done and how I need to get to 30K MMR in 6 months. So literally you can run stuff like this and then go make lunch, right? Or go make dinner and then come back and look at everything. And you start to realize if this is where things are headed, what our jobs are gonna start to become, right? And this is why you see more and more headlines of like what the future of jobs are gonna become. And it's just, I have way too many of those conversations with people now, so.
Well, I feel like a lot of people think this is an edge. It's too commercially available to be an edge. It's
Right.
just gonna be everybody is doing this
Okay,
as
so-
a baseline.
So I do need to clarify on that point.
Right.
I'm still meeting people who have never used AI, right? And they've never even heard of ChatGPT, right?
Mhm.
So when you're in these places like this, you hear it all the time, right? But if you are always here, guess what happens? You forget there's still worlds out there where people just have no reason to touch this, right? So for a lot of what I do, guess what? I have to door knock. I have to door knock and basically tell people like, hey, I run AI workshops, right? Because what I've learned is nobody's searching for AI. Do you know why? If you can answer this question, I'll be very surprised.
Because you're afraid of AI?
Nope.
Because they don't know about the existence.
Nope.
The people that are looking for it already know about it.
Yes, that's correct. Because if you're already on ChatGPT, why are you looking for ChatGPT on Google? Right? So when you're using AI, you already have in your mind, like, I'm using AI, why do I need to go look for workshops? Right? And because of that, you don't know what you don't know becomes an even bigger problem. Right? So as an artist, do you know how to create art using AI? Right? like, I'm gonna let this do its thing, I'm gonna show you something. And this is entirely, AI. So this right here, all AI, right? This is all AI generated. And these are just AI stock photos, right? So if I go here and I click this photo, I can see what the prompt is, right? There's a bigger prompt behind this, but I see that in 4 views, and I can go in and look at other images that are similar, right? None of these people exist, right? This is all just art. If I click this right here, guess what? I can go in and see other art that is similar in design. And guess what this has created? I can go to their profile and look at how many downloads they've had, how many views they've had, and what are they doing. So they're an AI artist living in Japan who creates pop and fashionable worlds. So everything here is AI. Right? But to create these images requires a very specific prompt style. And if you don't know that prompt style, you're not going to get this. So if I look at this, I can go in here. Now I can go further and I can do futuristic designs, right? I can look at this, I can click here, and I can see similar. If you don't know that this existed, you're going to think AI is just Midjourney. Let's see where we're at.
And it's still very nascent.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So if you remember from your days in college when you did business.
In 1997, how many people knew what Netscape was?
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember those days. Absolutely, right? So, let's see where we are now. Okay, so key findings from industry analysis. Market growth. Foot traffic analysts market is growing at a 7.2% CAGR. And then broader in-store analytics, marketing growth is 21.8%. Okay, data collection methods, both macro, GPS versus Wi-Fi, Bluetooth sensors, great, perfect, right? So now we're going further. Now I'll develop a revenue growth strategy to help you reach your goal of this. And it's doing everything, building everything out, key elements, and there's my entire package right there. Right, and it's still gonna add more. So now what do I do with this? This is where the people who know AI really know their stuff. What do I do with this? Very good. Now you give it back to AI and say build an agent that does this.
Can you zoom in on?
Yeah. And so there was a YouTube video I watched where when ChatGPT research came out, right? And if you've ever used ChatGPT research or Google Advanced Gemini, they create these amazing research papers, right? They're like 50, 100-page research papers. And when I saw this, I said, man, who's gonna read this stuff? And the guy turns around and says, you don't actually read this, you give it back to AI and say, now go build it. So there's all my.
Share the prompt again?
Yeah, I can go back to the prompt. Yeah. Let me change my sizing real quick. So the prompt that I gave it. There it is. Okay. So then after that, it went through, did everything, and then it came back, gave me my questions, and then after that, I answered those questions, right? So now I did this, and now it basically went to work, right? So it's doing everything, and it's still building, right? It's still building and everything. And so where we are now, right? Okay, so now we're at month by month progression, right? So now I have my roadmap, right? So everything y'all been doing here, this is what it actually built out for me, right? So now I have my month 1, month 2, month 4, everything, right? Clear milestones, KPIs, tracking. If I need a tracking program, I can have it go build everything, right? And then I can just hire a developer to just go in and make it look pretty, you know? So now it's gonna compile everything, finish everything up, and then give me my documents. Anybody impressed, or is this just like,
I'm impressed, but I'm also curious, what is the age of the training data?
the training data? I have no idea, because this is
Ask it.
I can ask it, but I will tell you it is not an American company. So I don't know. But I can
No,
ask
but
it. Yeah.
I've asked the other A's, how old is your training data?
So if you've ever asked,
It'll often ask me.
if you've ever asked DeepSeek what its training model is, what do you think it says? It thinks it's OpenAI, right? So what does that tell you about its information that it was trained on, right? And that's why the lawsuit is going on, because, which is ironic, right? Because OpenAI trained on everything on the internet, right? Which was, you were not supposed to do that. And then DeepSeek trained on OpenAI, so they're both pointing the finger at each other for stealing information, right?
But it's still at a point in time, all that data.
Right. So again, I have no idea. I mean,
Okay.
I've paid attention to models, but at this point, we have two worlds of AI people that use AI, right? And those that build AI, right? And those who make money with AI.
Right.
So a lot of people want to go learn machine learning and they want to get jobs, right? What happens when you do that? Okay, perfect. Okay, so here's everything that we have done. So from everything that I showed you, it has now given me my complete full business blueprint action plan for launching and scaling a foot traffic data business to achieve 30K MMR in 6 months. And it gave me complete blueprint, comparator analysis, industry trends. So let's take a look at the first document, right? So growth strategy. So right here we have executive summary, target segmentation, primary target segments. All this stuff would have taken a human being a very, very long time to compile, right? So we have all this stuff right here, secondary target segments, right? Single location retailers, which means I can take my business and go to other companies at malls, businesses, and basically say, I can identify your traffic, and I can show you how to set up your SEO to do all this stuff, right? And local economic development organizations, which means I can now go to Chamber of Commerce and be like, hey, for all your businesses that are members, this is how I can help them increase traffic, right? So product offerings, what is my actual offer? What do I actually do, right? And that's where it breaks everything down, product tiers. So target, single location retailers, small brokers. What am I featuring? Foot traffic for up to 3 locations. So that means I can identify downtown, I can identify Zilker, I can identify highways, right? Professional package for $1,000 a month, I can target small retail chains, and I can do mid-sized brokers. Here's what I'll do, I'll offer up to 10 locations. Enterprise package, right? So let's go to a 6-month plan. What does this look like? So on a 6-month basis, week 1, this is everything I need to do, right? Week 2, this is everything I need to do. Week 3, this is everything I need to do, right? So week 4, key milestones for the end of the first month, here's everything you need to have done, right? So we've done that. Legal services, technology infrastructure, this is how much it's going to cost you, right? So, month 2, marketing tree. Now, we're going to actually go get customers. So, here's what we need to start. This is everything. And let's keep going, competitor analysis. These are all my competitors. Placer area, yeah, I know who they are. SafeGraph, yep, know who they are. How do they do their pricing? And because it knows how to do their pricing, it gives me a similar pricing model, right? Any questions? So, yeah, it completed its task. And the best part is, it says, do I want to create a website that showcases this? And it will build a website. So, ask me again what the future of jobs is going to be.
What other AI tools are good at building websites?
So, let me see here real quick.
Simple sites, brochure type sites.
Like Lovable.
Which one?
Like Lovable, for
Right.
instance.
What else?
That's all I know.
Really? That's it?
In terms of website building like that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Claude tries, but.
But, I mean, we have other competitors. So, I'll show you one. So to build websites, so I'm going to show the one that he just talked about. And in fact, Lovable started off as it was an AI ChatGPT to replace engineers, right? And so these people were trying to build something that basically replaced engineers, and they were building and building and building, and they found out nobody really was using it except engineers, right? So they're like, hey, we need a bigger market. So they turned it into Lovable, and basically you can go in using a prompt that can build an app, SaaS, or a website, or whatever else you want, right? And it's really cool because it is kind of like a full stack engineer. And if you've ever been to any of their hackathons, they're a lot of fun. I know one person was trying to set one up here in Austin. But again, this is like having an entire coding team right there at your fingertips. And it can build your backend, it can do all your stuff, right? But there's another company that I actually debuted in this class a while ago that, let me see if they are, yeah. So Marvelism came around and they have now switched to this, right? Which is AI employees, which is crazy to think because this company right here had a great product, which was basically building SaaS, right? And so Marvelism turned into AI employees. When I debuted Marvelism in this class, we built an entire SaaS product, and it took like 10 minutes, right?
I'm talking about, like, if I go to Wix, right, and I don't have the talent, I mean, it's just, you know, it's super simple, but it looks like it's super simple. I'm looking for something that's that easy, but that looks nice.
Well, it all depends on your prompt then. Yeah, so Lovable will build your website.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lovable will do all that stuff, but again, it goes back to your prompt, which is, I need to build an e-commerce store that sells pet products, right?
I'm talking brochure site.
Yeah.
I mean, simple as can be.
Yeah, if you want like a single page site, again, it depends on your prompt, right? So you have to just be very clear in what you want. And my recommendation would be go use an AI tool to clarify your prompt. So when you go to something like this, you're not iterating over and over and over, right? Because again, this takes time for it to build. So you want to make sure your prompt is clear. So you can go into any AI thing and be like, hey, I'm trying to build a prompt that builds a website that does this, right? Take screenshots of other sites that you like and upload it, right? And be like, hey, I want something similar to this. Create a prompt that has a one-page style design, that has information at the top, testimonials in the middle, and then my contact information at the bottom, right? It will build a prompt so you can give it to Lovable, and then it builds it.
Okay.
Yes?
Build trading bots.
Yes, you can do that too, right? So for those who have never played with ChatGPT Pro, I don't recommend it because it is really meant for institutions and large corporations. But most Wall Street traders use ChatGPT Pro because it's such a huge system, right? It can process large amounts of data. Don't buy it because one, it's $200 a month. You don't need it to make your keto recipes, right? Unless you're processing large amounts of data or you're trying to win at the Wall Street game, ChatGPT is fine, right? So, but yeah, we have tools like this now, and I always keep track of this on LinkedIn, and they're always posting like all their hackathons and things like that. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Have you built anything in this yet?
Yeah, a couple things.
Okay. Did it work out?
It does. I mean, it's pretty. I like the fact that it's such an easy integration into your GitHub, and it just gives you pretty much all the docs you need and files.
Yeah.
You tell it to troubleshoot, and it'll go through and say, oh yeah, I'm referencing something incorrectly in this component. Let me fix that real quick, and it'll do it. And then
Exactly. Yes.
refresh. So
Right.
it's a good framework.
So now that stuff like this is happening, right? Now you have Operator, which is inside of OpenAI, and now that you have Manus, which comes in and basically says, hey, all these other AI tools have to start upping their game, right? We're gonna get to a point where pretty much everybody will have Lovable built in. You know, so once that happens, you're gonna have kids building apps like it's nothing, and then they're gonna make video games like it's nothing, and then they're going to share that with their friends in a private server, and it took them like 20 minutes. Alright?
And then they'll be bored in 2 days making that up.
Exactly. Exactly, right? Which is crazy because like people go to school for that, right? Which means like, why do I need to go to school to learn engineering now, right? Why do I need to go to school to get a master's when I keep meeting people with masters and PhDs who cannot get a job to save their life, right? Again, I don't know.
I have a question with this, all this AI stuff. There's all this big issues with the copyright. Like, if the AI generates this stuff, as a typical user, we don't understand all this copyright stuff, and AI generates it.
Yep.
It's like, who gets in trouble if something like that happens?
So the last ruling which came from the Supreme Court was that if it was human assisted with AI, then you own the copyright.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, when you generate all this content, like these websites and stuff.
Did you assist in doing that?
And then the AI goes grab all these images.
Did you assist in doing that though?
No.
Okay, so then somebody else did it?
So well, the AI generator is just like, I was creating, let's say I use someone who create a website.
Right.
And they go and grab all these images of wherever they're grabbing it. And some of these images have copyright issues. Like, I don't know if the AI even know which images have copyright issues, which doesn't.
Right.
And I just open a website with some of these copyright images in there, not knowing that these images have copyright issues.
Right. So then at that point, if you're not sure, then the law would probably say that you should not have basically put those together, right? Because the Supreme Court ruled on this already, if it's human assisted AI generation images, it's copyrighted, right, for your output. But you should have known if what you used was copyright, right? If you didn't, and you don't know, then negligence is not a defense in law, right?
So like using Lovable without knowing these images, creating all these websites, as like non-tech savvy user, I just, okay, this website was cool, let me just open it up and let people use it.
Right. So it's taking style designs, right? Like it's taking templates and
in some way, like you just,
right.
All I know is it's a cool website, I like it.
Yeah. So if you can say like, hey, I want something similar to that, then that would be your creation, right? But it's not taking the exact same thing. It's taking the framework of that template, right? Because I can go to WordPress.org and look at thousands of templates for websites and just install one, right? And that
I understand that, but like that image there, like you put, and it just, someone has owns that image for some reason, and I used it on my website, and Lovable created it with that image, and didn't tell me that this picture was copyrighted.
Right.
I have it on my website.
Right.
And whoever the owner sees it, well, they probably have recorders calling around the web to see who's using the images.
But that does go back to what I said, that you would have to know if that was copyrighted or not, right? Like if you're just taking images.
Is there a way as a user to know if the image is that?
So you can search the image and then ask if there is a license to this image, right? So all the images you see on this were taken from a photo stock site that's free to use, right?
Okay.
So this image is free to use without any repercussions, right? So every presentation I've ever done, I only use like free Creative Commons licenses. So that would be going back to the user to make sure that whatever you're putting into the AI, you've double checked on the copyright usage, you know? Otherwise,
can that be part of your product? Use only Creative Commons license.
You can do that in the terms of services, right? Like if you have terms of services and say, like, if you knowingly input information that's copyrighted into this, you take full responsibility on that part. We as the company don't have any responsibility for that, right? So, because that's the last ruling on copyright for that. Now, of course, if it's completely AI generated on its own, there is zero copyright for it, right? So. Does that help answer that, or is there?
Half and half.
Yeah.
It's like if I want to create a website and they pull contents with like 50 images, so like, do I have to go find out if every single image is copyrighted somehow?
It depends on your prompt, right? If you ask for it to generate images, then yeah, it depends on that usage system.
But the AI does a pretty good job picking out stuff that's not copyrighted.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to, yeah. So, but again,
you can't rely on it.
Yeah, exactly. So. All right. So with that right there, did you discover anything about your business that you didn't know about before, right? So let me just go through and get this. Yeah. All right, this is everything we covered here. These are the prompts. So let me see, yeah, that. And now we're on this part, oops, yeah. Right here, did anything change that you didn't know about in your business, right? Hopefully you have a working framework now, right? And the time that I built everything out, you saw like, this is what a full blueprint of your business should look like. That's what you should have either on your dry erase board. This is what I'm doing this week. This is what needs to be happening. This is what they do in Y Combinator, right? Like when you sit down with your mentors, they're like, hey, what are your goals this week? What do you need to accomplish? If you're waking up and you're just like, hey, I think I'll work on my business today, are you an entrepreneur or are you just dreaming? You know, so. And that's why the 10% rule in Y Combinator is so hard to achieve, right? So. And I have a small request, and that is I'm looking for more opportunities with companies, conferences, things like that. So if you know anything, please let me know, right? Like I'm always looking to showcase this stuff. I go out and I basically do a lot of I go to malls, I go to all kinds of places because I'm still learning that people really are not aware of what AI can do, right? Going back to what I said, if you're using AI, you're not looking for AI, you know? And that's why I have to door knock, that's why I have to showcase like a lot of my like paid workshops. It's hard to get somebody understanding like, hey, I'm gonna show you how to build this because they're gonna go back to like, well, can't I just ask AI that, right? I had a conversation with somebody the other day where AI is turning everybody into Best Buy. Do you know what that means?
Bro, cookie cutter?
No.
Nothing the same.
Nope. What did Amazon do to Best Buy?
Showroom.
There you go, right? So if I sit down with somebody, right, and all of a sudden, because I see this happening more and more now, where they have a conversation in one-on-one, and they say, well, I don't really need to pay you because I can just ask AI now, right? You just become showroom for them. And that's a problem. You know, how many people lost their graphics design job because their client said, well, I have Midjourney now, why do I need to hire you, right? So, it's a problem, you know. So other than that, I am also putting together a mastermind group. So I'm still working on this stuff right now. If you have any questions, this is basically to build. This is a full day workshop. And I'm trying to figure out like what's going to happen with this because the last person that I talked to, they want to be able to go in and be like, hey, I want to use AI to build out newsletters, right? And I want to generate like 10 different newsletters in 10 different verticals, and I want to have it automated, right? So this is where it inspired me, like building that stuff, not really hard, but implementing the business structure, that's where people start to mess up on, right? And AI can now fill in those gaps. So if you have questions, yes.
When it comes to more of like you were discussing before using Make for this, but marketing level outreach, so something like managing a social media account, sending out emails on a recurring basis, responding, things like that. Do you have a specific AI framework or pipeline that?
I'm gonna actually show you that real quick.
Okay.
I'm glad you reminded me about that. How much time do we have? Okay, perfect. All right, so here's okay, if you don't know this lady, get to know this lady really well. I'm going to show you something. She made a video a while back. There it is. All right. So this video right now has 1 million views. It started off very low. And I will tell you that when I show you this, we're not going to watch the whole thing. What is it?
So wouldn't it be nice if you can train AI to write in your tone of voice and post for you on automation every single day like clockwork? Right. This will help you build your brand as well as engage with your followers. And this system is exactly what I'm going to show you how to set up today. So the tool that we're going to be using is called Make.com. Make.com is an RPA or robotic processing automation tool that allows you to string along different types of software together in a flow on automation so that they all operate operate. And I'm going to show you how to set this up today. So once you get your make.com account, you can just go up to the X, and then we're going to select create a post again. Again, connect to your account. And last.
Okay, perfect, right? So this framework she built right here, you could sell to agencies for like between 60 and 100K, right? Because what it does is it automates the entire social media process. Every time something new comes out, it runs through all your social media platforms and posts for you. It will, it's a workflow, exactly, right? And this is all automated, right? And basically what she's doing is she's inputting, if you notice the green ones right here, this is AI going in, right? So the articles get put in, they get scraped, they get thrown into an Excel spreadsheet, and then from there it gets summarized using an AI tool. And then this filter tool right here shoots it out to the different AI social media platforms. And then AI reviews everything for that platform, and then it will summarize it, customize it to that image, right? And for Instagram, it will generate another image based on that, and then it will post it all for you within like 10 seconds.
Right.
Right? So imagine you have an agency that's a marketing agency, and you have 30 clients. You're gonna buy that template because guess what? Now you can run it as many times as you want per day. And that's what Make does, right? So there was another video she put out where she shows you how to generate, where did it go? I think it was, is it back here? Yeah, so how to generate 1,000 YouTube shorts.
I don't know about you, but lately,
in 19 minutes, right? So she connects make.com with, let me see if I can find the whole workflow. Okay, yeah, so basically, I don't know if you know this, but in Canva, there's a way to repeat automation processes, right? So she shows you in the video how to connect it to Canva. It will generate the template, and then it will keep doing that over and over and over and over, right? So you can generate 1,000 YouTube shorts in basically 20 minutes, and then it just goes through that entire loop over and over and over, right? So once you understand how to do that, you can take that template, and then you can basically just sell it to people who run YouTube short agencies, right? And
All
then,
this in the future is just bombard people with just a ton of stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah, we might as well
It's
be
like,
the one
and
doing
then
that
we're
too.
just gonna turn everything off.
So just to let you know that, well, what did they say the other day that, more?
But if it's not you, it's someone else. You know?
Yeah, but eventually everyone's gonna, more and more people use it. It's just, this is like exponential explosion.
Yeah, so then right here, like bots really are taking over the internet, right? So as of like 9 months ago, more than 50% of the internet was run by bots, and as of today, there are more bots than people on the internet, right? So because of that, most of the content you're gonna be consuming within the next 2 to 3 months or the rest of your life is pretty much gonna be AI, right? So you're gonna watch a video that's AI made, right? You're gonna watch a movie that's AI made, and you're gonna watch a commercial that's AI made, right? And it's either at that point, you can get an RV and go live in Montana or enjoy AI, because AI is everywhere, If you look at all the Super Bowl commercials, right?
Lately, in Facebook, I'm seeing all these AI, like, oh, here's a new movie series made with Yellowstone using Matt McConaughey.
Yep.
Fake, but it looks real.
That's right, yeah. And if you've seen the
And it's
movie,
like, wow, how do they get away with that?
yeah, right, yeah, and more studios are doing that, right? Like Paramount Studios, if you saw the talk here at South by recently, he talked about how AI is changing studio systems, right? Because now I can sit down with AI, go back and look at some of the best scripts ever written and go, hey, generate me a new comedy movie, right? But you know what's funny about that? Do you know Collider? Does anybody know Collider? All right, let me show you Collider real quick. So Collider, their CEO came out and basically got on stage and said something very controversial.
I don't know about you, but lately, whenever I log into my social media accounts, I see a lot of these things. So basically he got on stage and said this. He said that in probably a year and a half, you'll be able to look at your TV, say, I want to watch a movie that's an hour and a half, I want these actors, and I want to joke every 5 minutes, and I want the plot story to be about this, and it'll be on your screen. And how many CEOs from Hollywood were pissed? Right? Because it was true, right? So,
But like in that case, you run into all these copyright issues.
So, that is why the lawyers for the studios right now are trying to sue OpenAI to ensure that their actors, their movies, all this stuff is not trained on that stuff. So then Sam Altman had a meeting with them and said, hey, you give us the rights to train on your movies and we will do a licensing agreement, right? So that's where they're at now. That's why Sora happened, right? So, what were you gonna say? Oh yeah. So again, this is,
It is 2025 and this year.
Yeah, so basically these guys go in and they just show you like how to update special effects with today's technology, right? There was a video they did where they took the technology effects of Terminator 2 and showed what it would look like today using the latest technology, right? And that's what they like to do. So they did another one for like how to update the Jurassic Park special effects using today's technology, right? So, but yeah, they have said that more than likely, your movies and stuff will be AI generated, if most of them haven't already, right? If you've ever seen a movie here, most of that used a lot of AI technology. Majority of Marvel movies now will be incorporating AI technology. If you saw the last Avatar, most of the action scenes were used with AI. I watched the making of it. It was pretty interesting, so yeah. But that 11-year-old will make movies like it's nothing. He'll make video games, he'll write books, and he'll be like 16 when he has all this stuff done, right? So.
Have you seen anything around the education system incorporating more design into their education? So we're not, how do I build it, but what should I build? What are the constraints? What are the, you know, like it becoming more of an architect instead of a, like a builder, right? Because that just has to be the next stage. It's just how do I teach people to architect a product rather than build?
So there was a video, I was trying to look for it right now. Yeah, I couldn't find it, but basically what happened was there was this video they posted that showed them how to make textbooks using AI, right? So if you know how to remove the character limit in OpenAI, then you know that you can go in and just start generating textbooks after textbooks after textbook, right? And now you can take that stuff and then just start selling them to like different education communities, schools, and you can sell that all around the world now, right? As far as the design goes, I have no idea because we have too much chaos going on right now in the US, right? But if you start targeting places where they don't have chaos and you say like, hey, I wrote an entire textbook that covers intro to social media management, right? Sell that to universities around the world, you know? There was a guy that I read about, he created this one course like 15 years ago, right? And basically teaches medical students how to remember terminology way better, right? And he made one course. And that one course he made 2 days still pays all his bills. Anybody care to explain to me his business model? Because it's super simple. This course is very old, by the way. Like I said, it's over 15 years old. And yet he still makes a ton of money off of this one course. How did he do it?
YouTube?
Nope. And remember, nobody's watching medical terminology YouTube yet.
Is it index cards?
Nope.
PDF.
Nope. It's an online course, right? It's an online course.
Can't be paid. Is it paid?
It's a paid thing. Obviously, it's a paid thing.
Students
It's how you
pay
pay
for that?
right?
Students pay for things.
Okay, so here's how his business model works. He created the course, and he basically got some remote assistants and said, target every medical school in the world and sell them my course, right? And that course was so popular and so useful that many of them incorporated it into their curriculum, right? And again, that was more than 15 years ago. And all they do all day long is contact new medical schools everywhere. And it pays all his bills, right? So you just need one good idea and a good marketing strategy to run your business. So. Yes.
So, if you're making a product, wanting to sell it, etc., Shopify or?
You can do Shopify. I would definitely do Shopify, or stay away from Etsy because again, with Etsy you have to pay before you can actually sell anything.
Oh.
And I would probably say get yourself a Shopify expert, because that way you can just push everything off to them, they can build, and then you can just worry about marketing, so yeah.
Out of curiosity, from an app.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
So you know how, or if I'm current on this, Apple still does like 20–30% of the revenue if you publish an app versus
Yes.
if you just put it on a browser, right?
Right.
With all of this making it so much easier to create browser apps and websites, do you think that it's even, is the direction really steering away from app store development?
It's this right here that you're looking for. So this is called Tiny Host. And basically you can just run your entire app through this hosting platform, and then it gives you basically like a little SDK thing, and you can install it on your phone. Right? So you bypass the entire system, and now you can just basically send a link to your friends or post that link on your website, and then now they can just download directly to their phones, and guess what? Now you make your money, right? And now you're not paying fees for anything. Right?
Is this on only Android, or does that work for the?
It works both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it legal or?
That's absolutely legal. Remember, it's just a hosting site, right? This has nothing to do with what you made, right?
So this bypasses the App Store from Apple?
Yes.
Kind of the same as AgRock?
Something like that, yes. Because you know how your phone has the option to turn off like the authenticator, right? Like allow third-party apps to be installed. If you turn that feature on, then you can use this to install apps, whatever, right? But if you keep it on, then you can't install third-party apps, so. But yeah, so with that, I do have an affiliate link. If you want to use Make, you can get 1 free month of some services through them. I'll let you scan that. And then, like always, I come with some little books to recommend, because we got about like 3 minutes, and then we got to be out of here. So, anybody need parking, by the way? If you parked in the garage, I hope not. No? Okay, perfect. Then you don't have to deal with that. And now, book recommendations. This is one that I always cover. So this class is actually based off of the $1 Million One-Person Business book. If you've never read it, please go read that book. She wrote 2 books. I read it a long time ago, and I've just updated it with AI. That's all I've done, right? So, business model, lean startup, and then scaling smart. This is another book that I've read as well. So if you're trying to automate your business, doing stuff like this helps you tremendously. This was given out during South by. So if you went to South by, you probably saw this everywhere. This is the future of no work with AI. I met the author, pretty interesting stuff. So it's really good. I've already read it. It's scary, but yeah, I again don't know what's going to happen in jobs. So
is this list in your deck?
Well, no, I just show these around. Like, if you want to take pictures of this.
Okay.
But I read this book a long time ago. I'm trying to turn it into a workshop. This is the new automation mindset, right? This book came out over a year ago, and it is so good to read, right? Like, if you're trying to implement AI workflows and automation into your business, this has a ton of information, right? And then, of course, the future normal, right here. If you don't really pay attention to this stuff, you're going to get caught up into a wave of like, this is too much, right? Like, if you've seen like what robots are doing, it's just wild. And then, oh yeah, the future normal. Yeah. And then the last one, business writing with AI. So this helps you create all your documentation for businesses. This covers like legal, this covers medical, like all kinds of contracts, things like that. So it's very useful. I've read this one. And if you have, oh wait, where is it? Oh yeah. And then this one right here, if you have more questions, you can schedule a Calendly call. How much time do I have right now? 1 more minute, okay. And then I do ask, real quick, if you can please fill out a survey. I always like to get feedback about how this is. I know we were supposed to have more people, but I don't know what happened, so.
It was really good, thank you.
Oh, appreciate it, yep.
I don't think the quantity of people in here is relevant for
The quality
the
of
quality
Yeah,
of what you put
exactly,
out,
yeah.
so.
Have so many legs, it's.
So, and then if you want to keep in touch, that is my LinkedIn right there. And then that is it, and I appreciate y'all coming out.